Welcome to DYK, sharing reputable ataxia information in short, simple, digestible surveys, helping the world become acquainted with ataxia. With your host, Dana Mauro.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Did You Know podcast. I'm here with Kara Eichelraut. It's tough last name to say, but Eichelraut, and she works with patient advocacy for Reata Pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. I'd like to welcome you, Kara. Thank you for joining us. And you have a real important message to kind of get out, and I would like to get to that in a minute. But first, I'd like to understand, what is your role with Reata Pharmaceuticals in terms of patient advocacy? What are some of the things that you do?
Yeah, sure. So I work with Reata Pharmaceuticals to connect with the patient communities that we're doing clinical trial research for across all of our different pipelines. So we're currently only doing research. We don't have any drugs on the market yet. We're still in the research phase, and my focus is to connect with the communities, to understand what's important to them, to deliver our message to them and help them understand the research that we're doing and how it could affect them.
And what is the message that Reata wants to convey to the community?
Well, we always want to give out some information about the research we're doing, of course, but kind of a secondary message that I like to put out is to let patients and communities know how powerful they truly are in the outcome of treatments for their disease.
Say more about that.
Sure, yeah. So, I go to a lot of fundraisers, 5K walks, grassroots events, and, I always have people who come up to me and they tell me, Kara, thank you for being here. Thank you, Reata, for all you're doing. Thank you for your research. And truly, I should be the one thanking them, because with these patient communities, by doing fundraising, by doing awareness events, by getting word out about their disease, they've laid the groundwork for us to be able to do a clinical trial for a potential treatment for that disease. The patient community is more powerful than I think they often realize. There's so much that can be done by an individual patient with their community, with the other members in their community and their friends that they've made, the family, that has a true impact on furthering research for their disease.
Yeah, and I think that's important to know, that they have such an impact, but also that this pharmaceutical company is kind of wants to partner with them and be that partner in this journey that they're on with this condition. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of put it simply, when you do fundraising for a 5K or bake sale or whatever it is, even if it's small, if it's big, and that money goes towards a foundation or towards, an advocacy group, oftentimes that then goes towards providing money for grants for research to scientists who figure out some of the basic science about the disease. And then once that basic information is found, they can go to a pharmaceutical group and offer them all of this information that they've already done as the groundwork.
Right.
And as a pharmaceutical company, if somebody comes to us and they've already done all of this work and they've already shown that they've got a strong community that's involved, that knows about their disease, then it's a lot easier for us to get on board with moving forward with research for them.
And so talk to me about the process, all right? So say I do all of this stuff as you were describing, and then I come to you with that information, and now you're going to jump on board with that. So what's the process from there? How does that work?
That's usually a pretty complicated behind-the-scenes process that often takes place with the pharmaceutical company and some of the leading researchers in the field, and then likely the advocacy group. So whether it's the National Ataxia Foundation or the Diabetes Foundation of America or any foundation like that, they'll often all get together in a room and figure out, okay, what does a trial for a drug for this disease look like? How do we do it? Who do we involve? And that conversation takes place before actually getting it started up.
Okay, all right, great. But real important information for people to know and understand, because I think that piece of it is often blind to people, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like I know I have a condition that's affecting me, and I know there are no drugs on the market that can help me. So how how does that gap get filled in between me with the condition and the drug that can help me? Right? Most people aren't educated with that kind of stuff.
And that's another area where patients can make a big difference beyond just fundraising, educating yourselves about what's currently in development and what's being researched, and understanding your disease so that you're empowered to be able to get involved with that research and understand what's going on and get together with your community at conferences like where we are now, and draw a lot more attention to it. It moves the needle forward.
Right. And so one way to get more familiar with research that's going on is through a conference such as this. But are there other reputable websites that someone can go to learn about where the research is, what stage it's at?
Sure. I would always recommend going through a foundation's website. So for whatever disease or disorder it may be, whether it's ataxia or something else, a foundation is usually going to offer the best level information. If you go to WebMD, a lot of it is bleak and dark, and it's not applicable to everybody.
And I can vouch for that, because most people don't know where to get reputable information. And the funny thing is that anyone can put anything up on the internet, and it's not always reputable. So you have all this information available to you, but you're not sure if it's from a reputable source.
Exactly.
So that's really great recommendation, is to go to the foundation's page for the condition that you have and to research it that way.
They'll usually have a 101 page that gives all of the basic information that you may even need to print off and take to your own doctor if it's a rare condition that hasn't been heard of. And that's a great resource in itself to educate the physicians that are helping you day to day but don't necessarily know your disease.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I understand through talking with you earlier throughout this weekend that you are working on something right now for Friedreich's ataxia. Not you personally, but Reata is working on something for that. Is there anything that you can tell someone that might be listening that has Friedreich's? What's coming up?
So we've been doing some clinical trials for Friedreich's ataxia and working closely with FARA, the Friedreich's Ataxia Research Alliance. They've got some great information on their website, but we have a registrational clinical trial going on right now, which means we can take the information from that clinical trial and potentially take it to the FDA and submit it for approval for a drug.
That's exciting.
It is very. We're encouraged by what we've seen. It is still a research study, so we don't know the outcome, but we've made a lot of progress in learning just about the disease and getting the community together to participate in clinical trials. Even if our study turns out to not be the outcome that we're looking for, we've learned something, and the community has learned something, and they've participated and they have contributed towards more information about the disease and a potential treatment in the future. Right,
so that kind of snowballs.
Exactly.
And that it leads to the end result that you want eventually, which is really great, and everybody's all the smarter for it in the process.
Right.
So is there anything that you would like to tell people as either a patient advocate or related to our conversation today about the trials and of the drug companies and stuff?
Yes. The biggest thing that I can tell anybody who is affected by a disease, a disorder, a struggle of any sort is do something. You are not stuck. Get involved, meet people through conferences or support groups who are going through the same thing as you, and connect, and then do something. Whether it's a fundraiser or doing some surveys that are available online about your disease, or participating in just an observational study with a physician, do something, because it goes a long way. And I would not be here as somebody from a pharmaceutical company doing a drug trial in Friedreich's ataxia talking to you right now if those patients had not done something about their disease. So you're not powerless. You can do something about it.
That's really, really expert advice. Thank you so much for joining me today, because I think this information is really important to get out as an awareness, and then hopefully people will get involved and do something so that it creates a bigger opportunity in the future.
Yes. Well, thank you. It's been great to meet you guys today. I'm glad we ran into each other.
Yeah, I am too.
It's been a pleasure, and I hope we continue the conversation.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kara. And as always, we hope that you found this informational and that you had a good takeaway and you're a little bit more enlightened as to what a pharmaceutical company goes through and the investment that they have in you and your disease, and wanting that partnership between you, with you, that partnership with you. So as always, thank you for listening and have a great day.
Imagine that. Dana Mauro, the Did You Know Woman. For more great topics, go to iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, or join us on Facebook or at rideforjohn.org. Till next time, DYK.